I can feel that when I speak Korean, I'm kind of just like any other person here. But when I speak English, they tend to be a little friendlier, like they want to be more helpful.
If I am to speak English off the gate, they'll be more likely to hear me out because Koreans, especially in here, I don't know if you know about like cults or stuff like that.
한국말 진짜 잘하시네요. 주변에 한국 친구들 되게 많으신 것 같아요.
좀 네 많은 것 같아요. 네 사실 그 외국인 친구 많지는 않아서 요즘 영국인 친구 찾고 있어요. 가끔 여기 외국에 있으면
외로우니까.
맞아요.
미국인 친구 말고 영국인 친구 미국인 너무 많아서.
미국인 너무 많아가지고 영국 사람들 여기.
Ah shit. Hey guys, how's it going? It's Sean. So I'm here now in Yeonnam-dong and I'm asking people who are working, living, studying here in Korea, how is their experience interacting with Koreans different when they speak English compared to when they speak Korean? Speaking Korean comes with a lot of social rules that you have to follow. Obviously, you have to speak in 존댓말 or 반말 depending on the context. You have to use the correct terms when addressing people such as 사장님, 형, 누나, 오빠, 언니, these kinds of words, and other concepts like 눈치 or 정 also apply when you're speaking in Korean. When you're speaking English, you don't have to follow any of these rules because people are more on even ground when speaking. So I'm curious about people who are learning Korean and people who speak Korean well, what their experiences are. Also, if you're currently studying English, I highly recommend you check out my online course. It's called 미국인 션의 여행 마스터. This is an amazing course if you're planning to travel, you're planning to study abroad, you're planning to move abroad. We go over really important topics such as immigration, ordering in cafes and restaurants, asking for directions, stuff like this. Click the link down below to watch a free sample. Without further ado, let's begin. Hey, how's it going? What's your name? Where are you from?
My name is Eunice and I'm from New York.
What brought you to Korea?
Well, I came right after I graduated university, so that was like 2019, and I really just came for fun, and I didn't think I was gonna be here for this long. It's now like almost 6 years later, and I'm still here.
What do you do here, can I ask?
I work at a English 학원 in Daechidong, which is like the 학원 capital of Korea.
Do you notice a difference between when you speak English and when you speak Korean and how people treat you here?
Yes, I can feel that when I speak Korean, I'm kind of just like any other person here. But when I speak English, they tend to be a little friendlier, like they want to be more helpful, or they assume that I don't really know what to do, so they'll go out of their way to do more for me.
They treat you like a foreigner.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. But
Yeah.
when you're speaking Korean, you're Korean.
Yeah, when I'm speaking Korean, it's like I'm just another person. You know, it's like next. Yeah.
So would you say your Korean is like native level Korean or very, very fluent?
Yeah, I think I'm fluent enough. The only times it'll show that I'm not sure is when we get to talking about like politics, for example, or like,
I was gonna say.
yeah, I definitely couldn't do that. Yeah, they would just think I'm native otherwise.
Hey, how's it going? What's your name? Where are you from?
My name is Tom. I'm from England.
What originally brought you to Korea?
So I first came as a exchange student in 2020, and I
Okay.
came here, liked it so much that I came back like a year later.
What'd you like so much?
I think everyone has the same view where they come here, and I don't know what it is. When you go back home, you're like, I need to go back. For me, the thing I really like the most is like the safety.
So are you studying Korean now or have you studied since you've come?
Yeah, so I never studied like formally in a school or anything. It was just sort of self-taught.
Do you notice a difference between when you speak to Koreans in English versus when you speak to them in Korean?
Like as soon as I speak Korean, people have that obviously reaction, like whoa, whoa, like they get so excited. Or I can get into sort of friend groups and things like that maybe I wouldn't be able to do. But I also find that a lot of people want me to speak English to them, especially the younger generation. I feel like
because you're a native speaker.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they see me and think, oh, I want to speak English. It's really hard to say. Like I feel like sometimes people want that fun foreigner who's going to be outgoing and just speaking English all the time. And then other times, yeah, I feel like I can get closer to people through the language.
It almost sounds like if you're like hanging out at a hobby group or a language exchange, they would prefer that you spoke only English.
Right.
If you're going out for a drink at a bar, they want that fun foreigner who speaks only English. But if you want like a real long-term friendship or relationship, maybe Korean is better.
Yeah, definitely. If someone's trying to be here long-term, then yeah, definitely know the language so you can, even simple things, but like getting to know someone deeper, like dating, just normal things like going to the bank or casual hobbies, just knowing the language just helps you so much more. It makes you feel more integrated.
Are you dating a Korean person, I guess?
I am, yeah. Currently in a relationship. She's over there.
Do you mostly communicate in English or Korean?
It's I'd say mostly in Korean, but she does speak English, and it's really helpful that I speak Korean as well. Otherwise, maybe the relationship wouldn't have gone as deep as it has done.
Hey, how's it going? What's your name? Where are you from?
My name is Ian. I am from Canada, but I am Canadian Korean.
What brings you to Korea?
So right now I am on school break. So I'm kind of here by myself in Korea alone, kind of just traveling, getting to immerse with my Korean culture.
Now that you're in Korea, do you notice a difference between when you speak Korean to people versus when you speak English to people? How do they treat you differently?
If I am to speak English off the gate, they'll be more likely to hear me out because Koreans, especially in here, I don't know if you know about like cults or stuff like that. Usually if you have conversations with Koreans, they're a little more conservative, just like mind your own business. If you speak English, they're like, oh, it's a foreigner. What do they have to say? So they might be able to understand and stop and hear what you have to say.
So you're actually helping my friend Jerry right now. You're going into the streets, you're trying to get people for him to interview, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And today you're actually trying to interview Koreans. He's trying to interview Koreans. So you're helping Jerry, and I want to know your experience about that between asking people, hey, can you help me? We're going to film a video versus 안녕하세요, 혹시 좀 시간 좀 되시나요? 약간
This is my process. I first stop by and say, excuse me, do you speak English? And then they might be like, a little bit. And then I speak to them in English, but then I slowly transition to Korean so that they know that I'm also Korean and they become a little more comfortable. And then they're like, okay, wait, I feel like I can talk with this guy.
why not just start off the bat with Korean?
Yeah, if I tried that a lot of times, most of the times they just ignore me.
Why do you think that is?
I think Koreans are very conservatives. Koreans are just very mind your own business. And if there's another Korean, they might think that's like you're asking for a survey or they're asking
To join your weird church.
to join your weird church. There's a thing called 신천지. You get a lot of people recruiting. And so a lot of Koreans, they just like, by this point, they're just walking, right? They're just like,
I don't want to talk to anybody in the street.
they don't expect foreigners to be recruiting. So they're just like, oh, what does he have to say?
That's
from
very
my-
interesting. Hey, how's it going? What's your name? Where are you from?
My name is Melissa. I'm from South Africa.
What originally brought you to Korea?
Work, basically.
Yeah.
I'm an English teacher at public school. I originally started in Changwon, which is like 40 minutes west of Busan. They call it the countryside. To me, it's not the countryside, but yeah, I started there, and then last year I moved to Seoul.
So you've been to Busan a lot.
Almost every weekend for like the 4 years I was in Changwon for. Yeah, I love
Okay.
Busan.
Do you find a difference between when you speak English and Korean to Koreans? Do you find that there's a difference in the way you're treated, the experience you have,
Yeah.
or any other detail that comes along with that? I'm curious about.
If I'm meeting Korean people like randomly or maybe like on a night out or something, if I speak English, then it's like, wow, like amazing, you're so cool, whatever. But
Why is that?
I think just because of how like the government is like really investing into English education
Yeah,
and
sure.
stuff. So when they meet somebody who speaks English, it's almost like, oh, I have a chance to either practice or get a little bit more like insight on like what it's like to live in a different country or something along those lines.
Sure.
When I speak Korean, I'm also met with like awe or wonder. They're like, why do you speak Korean? But if I speak Korean, I still get English back. I think that's more with younger people.
Hey, how's it going? What's your name? Where are you from?
Hi, my name is Elis, or Elishka in Czech, and I'm from the Czech Republic.
What brings you to Korea?
I study at Yonsei University,
Yeah.
so I'm a student here. Yeah, so like when I start a conversation in English, they're a little bit more shy, whereas when I start a conversation in Korean, like when I at least try to say something in Korean, they are like much more confident and maybe willing to help.
Can I ask you something in Korean? 주말에 주로 뭐 하세요?
사실은 친구 하나밖에 없어서 이 친구예요. 그래서 네, 친구랑 같이 놀고.
Only one 친구?
Yeah, only one. 그 친구가 바쁠 때는 아무것도 안 해요.
집에 있는 거 좋아해요?
집에 있는 것보다는 그냥 누구랑 같이 하고 싶어요. 근데 친구는 그렇게 많이 없으니까 집에 있을 수밖에 없어요.
혼자 뭘 하는 걸 별로 안 좋아해서?
네. 그러니까 요새는 러닝 많이 하고 있어요.
러닝하고 있어요?
네. 저번 주에도 그 하프 마라톤도 뛰고 처음 뛰어본 거라서 많이 힘들었는데 오늘 밤에도 집에 가서 또 러닝 할 예정이에요.
나이스. 한국에서 무슨 일 하세요?
저 이제 그 모델 하면서 사실 좀 엔터테인먼트 쪽에 지금 뭐 일하고 싶어서 뭐 유튜브나 그런 거 하고 싶기 때문에 그런 거 하고 있어요.
무슨 비자로
이제
오신 거예요?
구직 비자인데 E6 비자로 지금 바꾸려고.
한국말 진짜 잘하시네요. 그 발음 너무 좋아요. 주변에 한국 친구들 되게 많으신 것 같아요.
좀 네 많은 것 같아요. 네 사실 그 외국인 친구 그 많지는 않아서 요즘 영국인 친구 찾고 있어요.
왜 영국인 친구 찾고
그냥
있어요?
가끔 여기 외국에 있으면
외로우니까.
맞아요. 좀 가끔 그 향수병 좀 들 때.
미국인 친구 말고 영국인 친구. 미국인 너무 많아서.
미국이 너무 많아가지고 좀 영국 사람들 여기.
아 쉣. 오늘 뭐 했어요?
오늘 친구랑 놀았어요. 우리 점심 먹었어요. 그리고 쇼핑 조금 했어요. 네.
시간 있을 때 뭐 하는 걸 좋아하세요?
시간 있을 때 운동, 넷플릭스 봐요.
예, 좋아요.
네.
Has there ever been a time when you've pretended not to speak Korean for some reason?
Maybe sometimes I know that I wouldn't really be able to hold a conversation because like I would be able to just ask for something or just like order one thing, but if they ask for any follow-up questions, I wouldn't be even able to answer. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just start the whole conversation in English and I'm not gonna even try because it wouldn't work anyways.
You're scared of the follow-up.
Yeah. I'm kind of like the Jackie Chan when he had the interview when he was like preparing to order the sandwich and then the waitress she asked for more follow-up questions and he was so lost.
Milk, toast, bacon, and egg. Then she said, how would you like the egg? Huh?
So that's me, you know. I know how to order sandwich, but then if the waitress just asks for more questions, I'll be lost, you know. So
Are there any moments when you pretend not to speak Korean?
A lot.
Tell me about that.
I do this way more than I should. For example, like even though I could speak pretty much everything I need to. There are some days where, like, let's say I go to I go to the bank, right? I'll just tell them that I don't know because, like,
Yes.
let's say I start speaking Korean and I make one mistake, then their whole like illusion is like broken down, and then they kind of like get annoyed. But if I start off from the very beginning speaking English, then they just expect the bare minimum from me. So I prefer that. I speak English like way more than I should, like when I'm here.
Mostly for that reason.
Yeah, because I don't want them to look down on me when I start speaking Korean and then I mess up.
You're not held to as high of a standard in terms of what you
Yes,
have to know and
of
how well you
course.
have to speak.
So then like when I'm speaking English and I happen to know something in Korean, they're like really impressed. You know? Yeah, which is, you know, that works in my favor. Yeah.
Are there any times when you pretend not to speak Korean?
Maybe if someone comes up to me on the street and they're trying to sell me something, but sometimes I don't have time and I'm like, oh no, sorry, no Korean. But that's very rare. So,
Very rare.
yeah,
Most of the time, you welcome these kind of interactions.
Yeah, definitely. It's a part of like living here as well. If someone comes up to me and speaks Korean, I'm actually really thankful. But rather than speaking English straight to me, I obviously understand why they do that. But if someone comes up to me, even if it's like an old person asking like, oh, is this the right train for, you know, if they're trying to go somewhere, or like ask for directions, if they ask me in Korean, I feel like I'm a part of the society.
Yeah,
you know what I
let's
mean?
go.
Yeah. Whereas like if they ask me in English, or I don't mind, but it's nice to be asked in Korean.
Are there any situations when you pretend not to speak Korean?
When they come to me and recruit me. So that's when I'm like, oh, I don't see that because I've had many experiences where Koreans try to come to me, try to recruit me into their cult, or like have a bunch of surveys come up to me, and then I'm just like, can't, I'm a foreigner, and then they just like slowly go away.
It's like, what?
Yeah.
영어 좀 잘하긴 하네요.
Exactly.
What's the hardest thing about learning Korean? Like just maybe the number one hard thing?
For me, the alphabet, because
yeah.
I'm dyslexic, so it's,
Oh, yeah.
it's a little like harder. Because I don't know if you know, but you kind of like read it from up and down and from left to right. So like the flow of the letters is like a little different
Sure,
compared
like
to English or Czech.
In
so,
one kind of square, you read it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Gangnam.
Yeah, Gangnam. Yeah, plus you have like the pronunciation is also like a little different, and if you just like slightly change the pronunciation, it can be like a whole another world.
Yes, true.
So you kind of like have to be careful
Yeah.
about it, you know, especially with like swear words.
The number
So,
18.
Yeah.
Hardest parts of learning Korean, I would say in English you would say it like this, but in Korean it just wouldn't be a thing you would say. Like it wouldn't even be a thought. Like the thinking is so much different when you have
Yeah.
to think in Korean.
Yeah.
I know it's a common thing, but when you finish your work, or you say like 수고하셨습니다, or like when you leave the place and you're 수고하세요. If you say it in English like work hard, it's like if you told me to work hard, I'd be like what in English?
고생하셨어요.
Yeah, like these kind of things. Like even before you eat, like 잘 먹겠습니다, like these kind of things. Sometimes I always say 안 되겠다. But this in English, I don't know, like it's not gonna work. You can say in English, but I feel like it's just a really kind of Korean phrase. So.
I think 되다 is just such a
yeah.
complicated verb that is used in so many ways.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Yeah. That's Once you like grasp how to use it, it's phenomenal. You can
Love
use it
되다.
anywhere.
Yeah.
yeah.
잘 안 돼. 돼?
Yeah, right.
The English vocabulary is huge. You know, we have synonyms for a lot of different things, but in Korean, I only know one way to say a certain thing. I don't know
I know what you mean.
I don't know the synonyms, so I'm very limited, you know?
Yeah,
That's
totally.
pretty hard for me, I think.
Hey, how's it going? What's your name? Where are you from?
Yeah, nice to meet you, sir. My name is Juan. I'm half Chinese, half Nigerian. Crazy mix, but yeah, we got what we got.
What brings you to Korea?
I wanted to become a dentist first. I studied
Dentist?
1 year, yeah. So probably not my thing. I didn't want to waste like 6 years. I have a hard time for understanding some people, especially elderly.
No, I think that's true not just with Korean, but with every language. Like, I think Koreans learning English, if they go to the US and try to talk to, elderly Americans, it's a lot harder than speaking with younger Americans. So are you overall enjoying your time in Korea?
Yeah, I like it here. It's my second year
Yeah.
here, and I like it. Although the beginning was hard, I can tell, because the culture is different, language different, everything's different. But so far it's good. Yeah, I like it. I'm glad for this opportunity.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Once again, I'm Sean, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.